Hello, you're listening to the Servant of God, Pastor Bangi.
Spiritual rules for raising godly children. That's what we are looking at. Now, we looked at a number of points concerning things that we should do. Let me just take a moment and recapitulate them. I won't go into details. Number one, we said, make sure you pray for the children. The first rule is prayer because you see, it is not by power. It's not by your own wisdom, not by your might. It is the Spirit of God. And what we are just doing is to ensure that we cooperate with the Spirit of God in all our works. So what we do is to pray to God for them. And number two, having prayed to God, and because we have authority, because we are parents, that's how God ordained life. He has put authority in us to be able to control, direct the lives of the children. We from Him, therefore, receive the power to bless. And we must be careful to bless our children. Please remember that. Remember to continually pronounce a blessing upon them. What is a blessing? A blessing is a spiritual empowerment to do well in life. Number 3 point is we teach. Very important. The word of the Lord that He has given to us must first be in our hearts and our own minds, and then we shall sharpen them, whet the edges to make them penetrate into the heart of the children, and we shall make sure that they learn the things of God. And we looked at a number of things that they are supposed to learn. And then next we said, to raise godly children, we must make sure that we are examples in the way we live. Paul said, the things that you heard me teach and you saw in me, make sure that you practice those things. The way Paul taught the people was not only by words, but also by his deeds. So we must be careful that we set the right examples for these children to follow. You've taught now by words and by actions. Remember to apply the appropriate physical discipline as necessary. It is important. The Bible says that the one that hates the child is the one that does not apply the rod. I said the way you do physical discipline depends on age, but it must be done. And the Bible says no one that's been disciplined finds it pleasant. It is something that is unpleasant. It's not negotiating with the child and using words. No, it's beyond words. You use physical discipline to correct disobedience. That's part of the ways by which you raise children in godliness. The next point we made is show them love. You must use the words, I love you. Tell your children you love them. Even when they have grown and they are adults, don't forget to keep emphasizing, reminding them of the love you have for them. Especially, I said, you have girls, fathers, tell them that you love them. Let it be ringing in their heads because they heard it first from their father. Very, very important. It's one of the ways you teach your children to live a sound moral life. And as part of loving your children, please, we said, make sure you buy them good gifts, not just the basic necessities, but things that will help them enjoy their lives. And the last of all, we said, please be ready to release them to God's will. Don't exasperate them by forcing them into your own will for their lives. All right? God has a will for them. The way God called you, that's the way He called them. They are directly children of God. They are not your children, you being the child of God, so they are like God's grandchildren. No. They are children of God and they are servants of God. They are soldiers in God's army. So be ready for God to deploy them into the place of His assignment for their lives. So we must learn to release them into the will of God for their lives. And one of the things I said is that as God leads you with prayer, you will know. Remember to recognize gifts are different. Like it's been said, that if you judge a fish by its ability to climb, it will live its whole life believing that it is stupid. Fish don't climb, they swim, all right? Each person has a place where the gift of God in them will flourish. Now, so those are some of the things we said that we must do. Now we are going to go on into looking at the things that we should not do. We know what to do, but there are things to avoid doing, which may come to us naturally. But before I go into that, please let me just remind us, when do you pray for these children? Number one, pray for them regularly. Bless them regularly. Number two, anytime something bad happens, maybe they fall sick, they fail an exam, they get into trouble, whatever it is, go and pray extra. Don't just shout. Don't just get angry. Don't just pray about the situation. Go and pray for that child and for yourself. Now, if they seem to be going astray, that's number 3, you intensify your prayer. And please, anytime that is happening, always start with yourself. Please, try and set yourself first that, what am I missing here? What am I doing that is wrong? What am I overlooking to do? These are important questions you must ask. Don't just blame the child. Remember, this child is yours. If something is going wrong, maybe it is you that is doing it wrong. It's just a possibility. Bear that in mind when you are praying. The number 4 time you should pray is when you suspect bad influences. If you think Jonadab is coming to your house, it is time to pray. Jonadab was the person who influenced Amnon to do wrong and Absalom to also do something that was wrong. If you suspect bad influences, it is time to pray. The main thing we do is to pray. Remember, also bless them regularly. I cannot say that enough. So let's begin to look at the things that we must not do. And to start that, I'll start from 1 Corinthians chapter 10. I'll read from verse 6. From New American Standard Bible, it says, "Now these things happened as examples for us, so that we will not crave evil things as they also craved." He said, "Do not be idolaters, as some of them were, nor let us act immorally, as some of them did, and 23,000 fell in one day. Nor let us try the Lord, as some of them did, and were destroyed by the serpents." In verse 10 it says, "Nor grumble, as some of them did, and were destroyed by the destroyer." Let me just add verse 11. It said, "Now these things happened to them as an example, and they were written for our instruction, upon whom the end of the ages have come." Now, there's just one major reason I read this. In that verse 10, it said, "Don't grumble, as some of them did, and were destroyed by the destroyer." Now, the first in the list of things that we should not do is what I'm bringing up from here. Don't grumble and speak evil in your children's hearing. Please let me say that again. Don't grumble and speak evil in the children's hearing. Listen, if you do that, they learn it as a habit. Now, the grumbling is the opposite of thanksgiving. And let me just say this, God hates grumblers. God hates grumblers. I say, and don't speak evil. If you do this, you kill their drive in life. You teach them fear and bitterness. When you do that, you teach them to hate. And in that process, you remove hope from them. Please, don't do these things. Don't teach your children to fear. Don't teach them to be bitter. If people offend you, don't discuss it with them. I'm not saying you shouldn't give them instruction concerning how to be smart in life. But if you have an issue, if somebody did you bad, maybe your uncle, your brother, they did something that annoys you, don't sit down and be ruminating over it in their presence and teaching them to be angry and bitter with that individual. It's something you must be careful that you don't do. Don't teach them hate. Sometimes you hear children talk. I remember one young man, very brilliant student, entered into my office one day, came to ask me for something. By the time he finished talking, I told him to get up and get out. I said, as young as you are, you come into my presence. Instead of you to be asking me about life, you are telling me how bad the country is. You are only halfway through your stay in the university. You're talking about how bad the country is. What does he hear from? Of course, social media friends, and very importantly, the parents. Parents, when you want to grumble about the nation, grumble inside your bedroom, you and your wife. Don't let your children learn it. I've seen children who heard so much complaining and grumbling at home. When they come out, the way they respond to things, you know this child has been taught the opposite of thanksgiving. And that's all I want to say. Grumbling is a bad habit. If somebody disappoints you, it's not for the hearing of your children. Your brother is very rich. He doesn't help you. It's not something you discuss with your kids. You teach them to be self-reliant, to be resilient in life. Don't discuss your anger with people who were not helpful to you with them. Don't teach them to be bitter. Don't teach them fear. I should emphasize that. So if you go to the dark, something will catch you there. Don't teach that to children. It's very wrong. Don't give them instructions that will make them fearful of life. Tell them God has not given us the spirit of timidity, but the spirit of love, of boldness, and a sound mind. That's what you teach the children. Be very careful that you don't teach them how to murmur and grumble in life. Like I said, bitterness, you see, the Bible says something. It says, let no root of bitterness taking root amongst you spring up, trouble you, and many are defiled. Please, make sure you don't spread bitterness. This is very important. Too many generations end up passing over bitterness to the next generation. Now, sometimes they think they have real reasons for it. But please, let me just give that as a warning to you. If you are raising children in godliness, don't teach them to grumble by not grumbling in their hearing. Always speak words of hope, the words of a bright future. Don't pass over to them the hurt done to you and the bitterness thereof.
We trust you are blessed by that short teaching. For more messages, books, and other materials, please visit our website, pastor.ng. Don't forget to share these resources with others. God bless you.